Hello everyone. As you can see from the title of this video, today I'm going to talk about the virtues and the good stuff about individualism and why I think it's actually superior as a way of thinking compared to collectivism. So, in order to get into this, it's important to define our terms. What do I mean when I say that someone is an individualist whereas someone else is a collectivist? Well, at the most fundamental level, individualism is the view that society and the conduct of people and policy and everything else is better explained by focusing on the individual as the main building block, whereas for collectivism, the main building block, the important stuff, the level of analysis that is better as a whole is the level of analysis of the group, whether that's by analyzing multiple groups within a society or by viewing the world through the eyes of society as a thing in itself. Now, I think that in general there is a false equivalence that is being made between individualism and collectivism, meaning that a lot of times I will hear professors and normal people explaining these two things as sort of just different ways of looking at the same thing. I will hear people say that, some cultures are individualist, some other cultures are collectivist, and that's that. There isn't anything inherently wrong with those two, with either of those approaches. In fact, sometimes people will look at individualism as sort of a worse thing, as an egoistic type of idea, and will therefore discard it. At the end of the day, though, I would like to make a very simple proposition. Individualism has one fact that is going in its favor that collectivism could never take. This fact is simply the fact that everything you experience, everything you think about, everything you feel, etc., is always and only done in the first person. It is literally impossible to view the world in any other way other than the first person perspective. Well, why is that? Well, I think we all have minds and everyone only has access to their own mind. Everyone has access to their own vision, auditory information, memories, etc. You cannot access the mind of another person. Of course, we have empathy and communication and language and all of those good things. But when it comes down to it, it is literally impossible to bridge the gap between you and me. At the end of the day, I feel the pain that I feel, not your pain. I feel the happiness that I feel, not your happiness. I may be happy that you're happy, but that simply kicks back the issue further. It's a meta happiness. The happiness happens in me at the end of the day. It's just that it concerns you. It's not like I am literally feeling your happiness when I'm happy for you. As a result of this, there are a bunch of consequences. For example, when someone says that we ought to do something for the betterment of the group, you have to look at it with a very skeptical eye, because the very idea of doing something for the betterment of a group may mean two different things. It may mean that you ought to do the things that are beneficial for the members of the group, meaning for the happiness or the well-being of each and every member of the group, or it could mean that the interest of the group is X, and no matter what the interest of the members of the group are, well, it doesn't really matter. What matters at the end of the day is the interest of the group. That's basically collectivism for you, and it's completely incoherent because each member of the group, although they do function as a member, are in fact experiencing their reality from the first-person perspective. There is no such thing as making a group happy without making each individual in the group happy. So, when people talk about group interests, you have to be very skeptical. Are they really talking about the interests of the individual that consist of the group? Or are they simply speaking in an abstract way, in an abstract collectivist way, as if the group is a thing? Because let me tell you something. A group is not a thing. It is a collection of things, namely individuals. And as a collection of things, it cannot in itself have an interest. The interest lies within the members of the group. It lies within the consciousnesses of each and every person. There is no such thing as being happy as a group. You have people who are happy within a group. Maybe they are happy about what happens to the group, and that's a good thing. It unites people. But the bottom line is, no matter how united you are, the feelings and the cognitions and the beliefs and the memories and the impact of any decision and anything that happens will eventually trickle down to the individual. And so, being individualist is not an egoistic, in a bad way, thing. It's simply an acknowledgement of reality. It is an acknowledgement of biology. You can only experience things as yourself, not as a group. And so, this leads me to a very problematic thing that collectivists and people who subscribe to collectivism tend to say, which is that they or do not say, which is that they want to sort of make up these cooperations, like these relationships, these groupings between people. And when people reject them, when they reject the grouping, when they reject the collaboration, they will paint them as egotistical or bad or anti-communal or something like that. The thing is this: cooperation is only beneficial and it only is fair if the people who are within this cooperation are benefiting. If I am not benefiting from my cooperation with you, then I no longer have an interest in forming a group with you. And if it's 100 people or 200 people or 1,000,000 people or a whole country, still my interest lies within myself. My interest lies within my values and how I view the world. Therefore, no, I'm not a bad person because I don't want to uphold some sort of grouping or some sort of cooperative relationship with the people that you want me to, just because of some group interest, just because of the betterment of the country. At the end of the day, I can only experience the world through me, and you can only experience the world through you. And so you shouldn't settle for any group or any identity, group identity, that doesn't actually represent you and that doesn't actually benefit you. You have every right and indeed the responsibility to speak out when you feel like the individuals, including yourself within the group, are not in fact benefiting from it. So at the end of the day, groups are really important, but the correct evaluation and the correct level of analysis of any societal, social, or individual act is ultimately the individual. Thank you.